Okay. For several months, we've been talking about trying to get uploaded to our server, to our website, a premarital and marital counseling video series that would allow for us to give you some information that would help in the instance of a scheduling conflict where we can't get together, or something just to refresh on your own marriage. And so we have decided to try to put that together now. And so what this material is based off of the Song of Solomon. You can find that in your Old Testament right after the book of Ecclesiastes, the book of Song of Songs or Song of Solomon. And we're going to dive into this material. And as we do, we hope that there will be a certain amount of information and application, a good balance of both, that you can take, put into your life, into your marriage, and come out on the other side with maybe a little more definitive guidelines, or just some helpful hints from Helga that you can use in your own relationships. So let's jump into it, and hopefully you will hear God speaking to your heart today through this passage. We're going to start in Song of Songs, Song of Solomon, chapter 1 through verses 1 through verse 4. So let me read it to you, and then we'll dive right into it. Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for your love is more delightful than wine. Pleasing is the fragrance of your perfumes. Your name is like perfume poured out. No wonder the maidens love you. Take me away with you. Let us hurry. Let the king bring me into his chambers. And then it says, her friends speak up and say, we rejoice and delight in you. We will praise your love more than wine. And then she says in return to her friends, how right they are to adore you. Let me give you just a little bit of information on the book. The book is written as a poem, and there are 3 or 4 different characters. There is the beloved, which is the woman, the wife, or the girlfriend at the time, the fiance, and then there is this the lover, who is the man. There are also friends, and in the very end of the book, you see friends speak up again, maybe even brothers, the bride's brothers speak up. So there is this really cool mix and this really cool exchange that happens all the way through the book. The book is written by Solomon himself, who was the king of Israel at the time. He was also the son of King David, and maybe you remember the backstory, a woman named Bathsheba. And so as he begins to kind of tell this story and go into this and talk about this poem, we're not sure if this is about a woman he actually knew, that he actually loved, or if this was just a poem or a song that he had written, or if this was something that was deep inside of him that he truly desired. I hope this is the story of Solomon, is what I hope. I hope this is a story of, even though he had multiple wives, I hope this is the story of just one of his wives. One that really moved him, one that really got to him at a very deep level. That's my hope for this passage. Now, I don't know. But as we kind of begin to read in this, I want you to hear this story unfold. She begins by speaking first. And she says this, let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for your love is more delightful than wine. Now, in this day and age, alcohol is used a little bit different than it was at the time back then. Now it seems to be something that we do to try to mask a lot of things. Not always, but that seems to be a prominent use. In this day and age, it's almost as if it was the celebratory thing. Like, how do you make a party better? Like this way. And that is still true today. But this was never seen as like this down and out and just depressed and alcoholic mindset. But that wine was this thing that just made things better. And in this time, she is saying this, your kisses, your love, being around you is like that. It's like everything is better when you are around. What a fantastic compliment. What a fantastic compliment for a gal to give her man. Now, I want you to notice something else. She says this, pleasing is the fragrance of your perfumes. Your name is like perfume poured out. pleasing is the fragrance of your perfume. Your name is like perfume poured out. There's just something about you when we go places. People respect you. There's not some backstory or a version of you I didn't know. We are upfront and we are honest. And I love that about you. And that is the conversation. That is the thing that she is saying to this man, that I so much appreciate who it is that you are. You move me at a very deep level. And then she says something very cool. She says, take me away with you. Let us hurry. That's the way love should always feel. Like it is just this escape. When we get around that other person, it is just an escape. After a long day at work, after being out of town, after going through a really rough meeting, to be able to shoot that text message, that email, that phone call, to be able to get back home as quick as you can and see that person who has always and consistently made life better for you. That's what love should be like. Now, ladies, I'm going to get at you first, right out of the blocks, okay? Here's what I want to tell you ladies first. This is what this session right here is entitled. Her feelings are his validation. Her feelings are his validation. So listen, ladies, as you have these feelings about your man, you share them vocally. It's not enough to just have them. It's not enough to know them. It's not enough just to keep them in your life, keep them in your heart, to just always think dreamy thoughts of them. That's not enough. Can I tell you something that I know about men? We are desperately looking for validation and affirmation. Desperately looking for those things. It shows up in a couple of ways. You find the guy who seems very ambitious. He is constantly busy. He is constantly working. He puts in overtime because he wants somebody to see that he is a great worker, that he is somebody who gets things done. He really desires somebody to step into his life and to speak positive things to him. That is one way you can tell that there is a deficiency somewhere of that validation or that affirmation in your man, okay? There's also another way, and that is in this just absolute bitterness, this brokenness, mad at life, mad at my dad, mad at the world, because I have been cheated, I have been robbed. Ladies, can I tell you something? One of the things that God has called you to do from just the Song of Solomon, first 4 verses, one of the things that God calls you to do is this. Speak validating things into your man's life. Whether he's your boyfriend, whether he is going to be your husband, whether he is your husband, speak validating things into his life. Now listen, I'm not saying you are always going to feel this way about him. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to drop the ball. He's going to be an idiot at some point. But you need to make sure you're doing the right thing and speaking these validating things into his life. Let me give you a metaphor. See if I can paint you a picture of what this looks like. In a place where there is no water, in the middle of the desert, to know that there is a well somewhere there. Every single day, at the same time, people come from these undisclosed, hidden places in the sand to this well every single day because they know beyond a shadow of a doubt there's been water there for 100 years. And so they always come to that one place, they get their water, and then they go back to their lives. They come back, they get the water, they quench their thirst, and then they go back to their lives. They know they can sustain their family off of going to this well every single day and coming back. Ladies, this is one way, one step in how to build an affair-proof marriage. Listen, let me tell you something. This is not a threat. This is not a scare tactic. This is just truth, okay? If you do not compliment him, somebody will. There will be somebody out there who is lonely, somebody out there who is broken, somebody out there who will really desire to have somebody like him, and they will speak validating things into his life. And you do not want that man to ever leave going to your well to go to another, because at points this one is run dry. I'm not saying you can't have a bad day, ladies. I'm not saying that you can't forget occasionally, but I'm saying make it a habit, make it a spiritual discipline to pray for your man, make it a spiritual discipline to compliment your man, to tell him that he's a good guy, to tell him that being around him makes life better for you. By doing that, you create a well in the desert and a place that he will continually return day after day after day after day. That is a wonderful thing. God has granted you this wonderful ability to be able to put a hook in that guy and constantly draw him back to you. I can tell you from my own experience, my wife does a good job of this. She does a really good job of coming to me and saying, you're a good dad. You're a good husband. You know what? I sure appreciate the way you do things. And you do such a good job taking care of me and such a good job taking care of the girls. And I can count on you for that. And I can tell you, that goes a long ways with me. That is just a wonderful, wonderful thing with me. I mean, when she says those things, it's very, very empowering. I could not care any less what the world says about me if she is happy and she is vocal about what's going on in my heart. But in the times that I begin to look for validation outside of my marriage from either a boss or a friend or a community, those are the times where something has gone on between her and I. She's not being vocal, and then we'll get into the next part, and we're not being vulnerable. Okay, we're not saying we have these needs. Men, it's very important for you to let those gals know we have these needs. We need people to speak into our life positive things. But we also have to guard that. We have to be very careful who we allow to speak into our life and how much that stuff means to us. If you can kind of get where I'm going with some of that, there are some precautions there with other people outside there. We go seeking validation from other people, we can get ourselves in trouble. But gals, future wives, if you speak these validating comments and compliments into your husband's life or your fiance's life, I promise you this, you are a well in the desert, and he will return day after day after day, hopefully for years to come. So this is the first part of the Song of Solomon. I like how it ends, and it ends like this, and then we'll close out this session. Take me away with you, let us hurry, let the king bring me into his chambers. I think all the ladies would agree that never one time, as you are thinking about the man you want to marry, have you thought to yourself, it is his dashing good looks. It is the way he looks in blue jeans. It's how he looks in boots. It's the fact that he's such a hard worker, and he gives his boss all those hours at work that makes me desire him on a sexual level. Ladies, that is probably not true. My guess is this: if you were like my wife and other women that I know who I've sat in counseling with, what they truly desire, what truly turns them on a deep level, is a man with integrity, a man full of honesty, a man of vulnerability, a man who can say, I have these needs and that I'm not perfect, but I'm going to do my darndest to make sure life is good for you. Ladies, I know you're nudging your man right now and telling him, see, he's right. I know you are. And so, guys, listen, we have to learn how to be vulnerable. Ladies, you have to learn how to be vocal, okay? Her feelings are his validation. And so this will close out the first session, and we'll scoot right in to the next one in just a moment.